the mayor asked me to be the moderator to make us the safest city in Texas. And I think that's a great vision, very ambitious decision or vision. And that's my goal. And we've come up with a lot of ideas with you all. There's some chiefs that were attending the other ones. And I don't see any here now, but maybe they'll jump on. But you got my Deputy Chief Wagner here. Chad, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And oh, there he is, Dr. Chief Lieutenant Colonel Roy Taylor. Good to see you, Roy. And there's Mandolin Salazar, one of my advisors and helping us out with all these socioeconomic projects that are going to help our city get better. And let's see who else we got. Dr. Taylor, say hello.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's good to be here. I had to call in on my cell phone. My internet in the house went out, so forgive me if I look distorted or something.
Roy's
Good morning, Dr. Taylor. I'm happy to have you on here.
Yep, glad to be here again. Look forward to another productive day.
Yeah, Dr. Taylor, Chief Taylor, Lieutenant Colonel Taylor, he and I, he was one of my students years ago when I was teaching college, and he just hit the top. He's an amazing guy. Combat veteran.
Don't forget to add professor now. Professor at Meredith University.
Oh,
so I got my little smoking jacket and pipe, and so I'm good to go now.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I just think, I was listening into some of your discussion and things that you said. I was just like, wow, we are so blessed to have your expertise on here, Dr. Taylor.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm glad to help. Randall's been a friend for almost 30 years, so want to make sure everybody's safe and successful.
Chief Taylor is, like me, a combat veteran. I served in the old war, Vietnam, as a captain. He served as a major. You were major then, I think, No,
I was just a young first lieutenant. I was a platoon leader in Iraq.
And a hero. He's a real hero. He received the Bronze Star for valor.
Correct.
I think I told Roy this and others, my staff. When you call, Roy knows him much. When I go to a meeting, somebody starts calling the warriors, the military people, you're a hero. It's really demeaning people like Roy that we're a hero by the definition. A hero is risking your life above and beyond the call of duty. When you go into the Army or Marines or whatever you go, you're not a hero. You're a soldier or an airman. You're a hero when you do what Roy did. You risk your life above and beyond the call of duty to do something that you didn't have to do. So I'm very careful when I call even police officers as heroes. If you are a cop in a shootout and you saved 3 lives and you were being shot at, you're a hero. But if you're just being out there on the street, you're not a hero. You're a police officer serving your country or serving your city. So I'm kind of funny. You see what I'm saying, Dr. Taylor?
Oh yeah, I agree. I hate to change the term veteran because used to, the word veteran was that you served in combat or in a war.
Yeah, right.
And now they've opened it up to anybody that served in the military. I mean, I appreciate everybody's service, but there, like you said, there are different levels. I mean, and I don't like being chunked in there with, everybody that did 4 years and went home and never saw combat or never deployed. Right. So just like a combat action badge. I was at Fort Knox for a meeting a few years ago, and I saw one of the cooks, an E4 flipping eggs and was wearing a combat action badge. And I said, "Where'd you get your cab at?" "Oh, I was at a base up in northern Iraq, and they got mortared all the time. And so everybody on the base got a combat action badge."
Yeah.
They wouldn't even award me one, and after all the stuff I've been through, they said, "Oh, you already got a medal. You don't get a badge." Said, okay, whatever.
Well, Dr. Taylor, you're what we call a superhero.
Yeah.
Right.
The other ones are patriots. That's a good word for a soldier or an airman or even a police officer. Okay, what we're going to do today, and by the way, we got a meeting coming up, the phase 3 meeting. I'm looking at my calendar here. The 25th, and look at your calendars, everybody, because on the 25th, Mandel and I were struggling with this the other day. On the 25th, I'm going to have the I'm going to set up the phase 3 meeting on the 25th, and I'm thinking about setting it up for noon on the 25th, because that's going to be the final meeting that we present to council. The final
Are you talking about January or February, Randall?
January 25th, next
Oh,
week.
this week.
Yes.
Okay.
Next week, I'd like to do it at noon on the 25th. I'm going to have council there. They're going to be behind me. We're going to be back in the council chambers at noon on the 25th. That's it. That's the end. That's where we're going to present the goals. We've been working on this. We had a meeting in October, a physical meeting. We had one in November. We had we had 2 Zoom meetings. This is the second Zoom meeting. And the final meeting is going to be January 25th at noon as it stands now. Okay, the goals we worked on. Let me close my door here. The goals we worked on at the last meeting, Zoom meeting number 1, which was Monday, December 27th at 10:30. Some of you were there. I know Mandolin was there. Dr. Taylor was there. We had 5 goals, and I mentioned I wanted 5 goals so we don't overload the system. And we threw some other things in each goal, but here's the deal. Goal number 1, you should have it on your email that I sent you. It was reintroduce community policing in the CompStat program, establish a fully trained gang unit with officers, hire a contractor to assist in performing crime analyst functions, and finally, matriculate into the Texas Recognition Program. That's like an accreditation program for our state. Every state calls it something different. Our state runs it through the Chiefs Association. So being accredited by our state with your policies and getting them all, best practices, that's important. There's 166 standards, and we got to meet them. What's a standard? A standard would be, for instance, I'll give you just an easy thing, that all officers working patrol will wear body armor. That's standard. And we have to have a policy that states that. And when they come in and do an assessment, they make sure, we're meeting it. We have it in writing. They're wearing a vest. If we're wearing it when they do the assessment, you get a check mark. But there's 166 of them. I'm working on that. Deputy Chief Wagner, Chad, you know what I'm talking about. And we've got a Lieutenant Price that's going to be doing that. And it's not going to be easy, but we're going to work. We're paying somebody, a contractor, a vendor, to help us get there. Chad, you want anything to that? Goal 1?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Goal number 2. Employ the Department Special Response Team, SRT, as often as possible, practicable, to conduct directed patrol actions on hotspots. That's a nationwide effort by police departments. Dr. Taylor, who teaches this and is an expert in court, they have said hitting hotspots as soon as you can, that's drug and crime hotspots, is the way to work it. And an SRT, we don't have, officers just hanging around doing nothing. We have to take officers on overtime and to work these missions. And, we got a lot of work we're doing. And I've even got the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement for our union, to approve a stipend of $200 for those that do this in an overtime basis. And they have to do at least 1 mission a month. And usually this team has got a minimum of 3 people. So for instance, at our Circle T, Lakeisha, you know what I'm talking about. We've always had stuff happening. We had a homicide there several months back, and they weren't even involved in anything. They were just, filming some kind of rap video, and somebody drove by and killed a guy, shot one of the people behind the business. And Chad, we're still working on that case, right?
Yes, we are.
All right, so we got to make sure that area is kept hot with the team. We sent the team out. Mandolin knows our high school principal, Ricky Nicholson, super guy, been there for many years. He mentioned to me and Mandel knows I'm talking about, that there's business at the Valero on the corner. Kids are in there, his kiddos go in there. They're doing stuff that they shouldn't do. Well, we sent the SRT in there and we did an operation and we made a couple of cases. So that's what the SRT does. Okay. Now on goal 2, as you see, it said apply for a Project Safe Neighborhoods grant to fully fund it. Well, we checked it out and I thought everything was straight. I hired them. We were going to hire a contractor to do the grant for us. Well, guess what? When he did a little bit more work on it, before we even paid him, he found out that what we were asking for, which was going to be like fully funded, everything except their uniform, we were looking at probably $1.5 million a year. And it was going to be a 1-year grant, no match. Unbelievably, Roy, no match. Well, he found out when I gave him the right number to call, because he was starting to work on it. The lady said, by the way, you got to be kidding me. You're asking, our whole region, which includes Houston, is only getting $500,000. And she said, guess where most of the money goes? And you all know what the answers will be on it, right? Where does the money go when you're in a region with Houston PD? It's going to go to Houston. So we wouldn't even got enough to even fund one person, she said, basically. So I do not have, that's going to have to be scratched from our goals. And I'm going to add, unless you disagree, apply for a grant, because the community policing grant is going to be coming out, I think, in February. Cops grant, they call it. And we're going to ask for some officers. Texas City got 10 officers. They don't have anything like our current rate. 10 officers they just got on that grant. We've got to wait till February. I'm going to apply for that. Okay, that's goal 2.
Sorry, Chief, which branch is that one?
It's
Is that the one you talked about at Crime Stoppers?
It's called, no, this grant is called a community officer, the cops office.
Okay, which is, yeah, the cops. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a cops grant and it comes out. I hear it's going to come out in February and it's going to be the same one. They got 10 officers. If they got 10, we ought to be able to get 20. But the problem with that is, as Chief Taylor knows, it's going to be a match. There's usually a 25% match. Isn't it 25% basically for 3 years?
Yeah, right. And then you got to be willing to take 100% of the burden on. You can't just get rid of the officers after 3 years. You have to agree to take it on. So you're going to have the city agree to,
right,
have in 3 years have that cash available for your budget. So whatever, if it's 100,000 per officer per year, they need to increase your budget by 300,000.
Right.
For the fiscal year 4 going forward.
Now they changed that around a little bit. It used to be 25 each year. We got to provide the match for 3 years, and like Chief said, the 4th year, which is the year after it's over, you have to keep them one more fiscal year, or you get in trouble. So, like he's saying, like Dr. Taylor saying, we got to come up with the money for the 4th year, or you get dinged and you never get a grant again. Okay, but Chad, you mentioned that it might have 100%. They pay 100% the first year, then 80, then 60. Is that what you said?
I'm just going off of memory, but I thought it was 180 and 60, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah. Well, there is a match. And
Chief, if I may suggest, when I've worked with other municipalities, one of my other traits that I did was, did lobbying, and in DC. And one of the things that I found that was very successful with local municipalities is make sure that you are making contact with Congressman Randy Weber with his liaison, because they can also help. If you haven't had a meeting with them, please have a meeting with them so you can sit down and talk with them about funding and grants, because they can also help you to navigate this and to make sure that you get that funding. Congressmen's, this is in their interest to make sure that their districts are getting funding. So if you have not, I strongly encourage you to get a hold of the liaison from Congressman Randy Weber's office.
okay, when we get there, I'll get back with you on that, because like we had Mays Middleton come up a few weeks ago, and he mentioned something like that. I want to help you, because these grants start at the Fed level and they go to the state.
Right.
And then the state does a little politic. And so, by the way, a 2-year officer for our department, a 2-year officer, which we don't want to hire a new guy and put him in there. It'd be a 2-year officer. with fringe is around 91,000. They're at 51, that's their salary. Then you throw in the fringe. A car is $60,000, $38. That's a fully outfitted police car. The car might be 35,000, stock. Then you add the wrap and you add the, all the lighting and all the equipment. You're talking about a lot of money. So a car is 60, an officer is 91. You multiply that times 10, you got a lot of bucks. So it's not an easy grant, and as Chief Taylor knows, you got to be able to fund it. And even the 25% match, it's a job. I've applied and got 2 grants through the cops office, and it was an agency about 32 people, and they bought into it, and I had it for 3 years. I think I got 3 officers, but Texas City got 10, and they got a big match. But as I always say, there's not a drop of oil in our city. It's the only oil, like Chad said, was coming out of his car on the pavement. So we don't have all the funding that they do in Texas City. Okay.
So that was goal 3, the funding.
What's that?
This goal. What goal are we on now?
We just finished number 2.
Okay.
And we're going to. Wait a minute. I think I made a mistake on that goal.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was asking.
Okay, goal 2. Okay. I got a typo there. Okay, goal 2 is use the SRT team as often as possible. 3 was should be additionally apply for a Project Safe Neighborhoods grant. Okay, so 3 was the grant, which I just told you we can't get. Okay, so that should be 3 should be changed. I'll change it on the next for Tuesday.
So 3 is to 3 is to focus on funding.
COPS grant. 3 should be
grants. So
yeah.
I would just say, because there might be, I don't know that you want to specify which one, Chief, because yeah, I would just say my thoughts are funding, grants.
Okay.
General, because you don't want to specify, because remember, this document is going to be
right
a matter of public record,
right,
and so you want to make sure that you allow yourself some room there. But I would just, and not just say, oh, just this, but I would just say secure funding.
Okay, so goal 2 would be employ the department's SRT as often as practicable. 3 would be to apply for grants that would provide additional officers. Okay, got 4. Go down to 4 is conduct a study, cost analysis. Now, Vincent, this is in your bailiwick. We need lighting, and you know that, and I know you guys are replacing the lights as much as you can, but there's areas that don't have any lighting, that it's dark. So let me explain this. The goal 4 is conduct a study / cost analysis to assess our city's lighting needs and priorities. Goal will be to upgrade our street lights with LED lights and install street lights wherever deemed necessary. Well, at the last council meeting, in my other hat, interim city manager, I mentioned we got to quit kicking the can down the road. Vincent, were you on that one? Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And I said, we keep talking about it. We've had meetings. Let's stop and give me the authority to hire somebody to do an assessment. Now, Vincent told me they'll do an assessment, but it's like, a little area. We need to do the whole city. There's areas that don't have any lighting. So they did approve that. And I need to get 3 requests for qualifications, they call it. So Den Ho, we all know Den Ho, at least those that work with me. Den Ho is our Attico key engineer that's on contract, because we don't have a city engineer. Den's going to look up who would be the best contractors to consider doing this survey and cost analysis, and he's going to work with me, and we'll pick the right one, just like we did with the bond for the new PD. The vision is to have one of them look at our entire city and tell us what the heck we need. Now, here's the thing: they could tell us all day long what we need, but they're going to have to say what it costs. Now, I don't want all the council members to fall off the podium there and say, "What the heck?" It's going to cost, and we're thinking maybe $500,000 or more. But we're talking about LED lights. They're a lot different than the high pressure sodiums. And high pressure sodium is the yellow glare. We need to have lights like my office here. They put LED lights in my office. I need sunglasses now. I mean, it's incredible. You know, I see things I never saw, but we need to do the whole city, because I keep getting concerns in my interim city manager role that, hey, my area is dark, you know, we're getting broken into. Sure, criminals love to work in the dark. We want to make it light. So that's going to be goal forward. Now, Vincent, you want to add anything to that?
No, it's something that once you pick a consultant, then they will work with TNP and the city to identify, you know, locations, and then the cost. Work with me to identify cost or develop cost. So to do that, but no, I understand, and it can be done in phases if need be. But that's what they have to determine how they just want to address it.
So, I mean, you guys would love the fact that we're going to pay for that, I'm sure. But the thing is, we got to identify the problem, what the cost would be, because we could say it all day long, what we need and want, but you know, do we have the money? I don't know. But finally, we're going to come up with an answer. Jen, you know what I'm talking about, right? Because we've talked about this. Our city needs to be lit up like a Christmas tree, and that's the end of it. So at least we've done something on that. Okay. Any questions on 4? Okay, 5. This involved a lot of this. I've had help from Mandolin, and in fact, one of the city councilmen is giving me some thoughts on this too. Councilwoman Kimberly Yancey. Hire a social worker to fill the department's already budgeted vacant position. We got a position. This is the second year in a row that it's there in our budget, and it's not that we haven't done anything. I'm going to be this week, probably this weekend. That's when I do my best work. I'm going to finish the job description. I got a job description thanks to Mandolin. She got Chief Radliff to get me his job description for his social work. She's got 2, and I'm going to work that up and submit that. And next week I'm going to have HR to advertise it. We'll get somebody in that position. Additionally, initiate an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, with the Research Crisis Center. Now, Rose, there you smiling, that's you. She popped in out of nowhere. I didn't even know how to say that name. And she showed up, and Chad was there, and me and Mandolin and others. And she said, warmed the cockles of my heart. She says, we knock on doors. You know how I am about community policing. You can't do that on the phone. You got to go there. She said, I'm going to knock on doors and get your socioeconomic standards up, your income level, your high unemployment, the single parent family issues. All this causes crime. You know that. And she told us about that. So I want to make sure we get an MOU. I'm ready to rock. And thanks, Mandolin, for doing that, because she went out on her own. And by the way, how much I pay you, Mandolin? Okay, 0. Okay.
Yeah, I just like Dr. Taylor, you probably wouldn't be able to afford to be.
Oh, I know.
We're pretty yeah. We're happy to help.
Well, we're good. When you get the MOU, give me a call, we'll get together, look at it, sign it, and so forth. You could just email it to me. But Rose, this is important. By the way, you will be working with our social worker, whoever that is. And
so I am working on the MOU currently and hitting those 3 different areas. And hopefully I'll have it done within the next week and a half is my hope. I'm having people review it, make sure next week I'm having people review it, make sure that I've got wording correctly and that we're able to do everything the way we're hoping we can. We're actually changing staff's grants around just so that we can have an educator for the schools. So yeah, we're committed to this for sure.
Deputy Chief Wagner and I will review it and make sure, meets our needs, and make sure something's said about the social worker. Because I want you to be, kind of on top with working with him or her or whatever. Am I right? That should happen, right? Okay.
Hey, Marathon, if I can suggest, I know with the wording, because since all of this, you and I, we've been having other meetings with other organizations and all that. And what I am going to suggest is that in the wording, I hope that RCC will not be the only organization that will be doing an MOU. And I just think it's critical because this has been part of your platform to bring us all together, right, and create these partnerships. And so I want us to make sure that we, in that wording, that we kind of make it where it's open to everybody. I don't want other organizations, because I'm kind of hearing that the city is going to be exclusive just with RCC. And I don't think, and Rose knows this, even in the nonprofit world, there's politics.
Right.
And so we don't want to put them in a position where there's politics. Okay. So rather than, rather
And
than.
and to add to that, a lot of the work that we do is we work hand in hand with other organizations, right? So like when we're targeting education in schools, we're gonna bring along the Advocacy Center for Children. We're gonna bring along Craving for a Change. We're gonna ask for other organizations to come alongside us to help us do this. When we're talking about the community level work, we're gonna want organizations that are within that community to be there and helping us do that door knocking, having those local fairs. So I agree, Madeline, 100%. Definitely, we do want to have an open place where other organizations, other nonprofits can work hand in hand with us. And I think this is something so beautiful and unique to Galveston County, is that nonprofits really work hand in hand here. There isn't like oh no, this is my territory. It's like, you specialize in this and you specialize in this, and let's just come together and do the work together.
Yeah, and Rose and I are very fortunate that we're part of these networks. So Chief, what I'm going to recommend in the wording is that how you have it on there is on there, you have hire a social worker to fill the department's already budgeted vacant position. Additionally, the social worker will work with area resource networks. Okay.
Which would be, wouldn't it be Gulf Coast?
No, I'm just talking about network, because remember when we first had a meeting and we invited RCC, we talked about a resource network.
Okay.
And so there's different little networks. And so that's why I'm saying we don't want to be exclusive when you're putting out, just the MOU with RCC. We want to make sure that everybody feels that they can come and they can partner with you and they can do an MOU as well. Because Rose will tell you, I mean, RCC is only one. We have many other organizations. Right. We got NAMI, we have big organizations, and we don't want to make this, that's why I'm giving you the wording that allows that, where you say the social worker will work with area resource networks, because you already have that MOU thing. And so that's what I'm just saying, is that we need to change the wording so that people don't feel that this is just an exclusive thing. And then, eventually, when you get these other bigger organizations, you can come out and do a PR piece and say, we've now established a partnership with,
right.
Even UTMB, they provide certain things. That's a big one. And they have funding that we can get from them as well. So having this network, Chief, is also going to allow you with these, like Rose is talking about, they're looking at their funding. So there's going to be a potential for other funding that the city doesn't have that you can utilize. So we don't want to box ourselves in, and that's what we're saying.
Let me ask this question, Rose. When we do the MOU, to keep me like having to talk to 5 different people, can I deal through you, or do I have to deal with all 5 of them, 6 of them?
No, so with the network, what we can do is have like a chair of the network,
right?
And we can have like that, and that chair works with, like the social worker will work with us. So maybe the social worker will work as the chair and do that communication, or we can have a chair and the social worker will work on the communication.
And that's exactly what we had agreed on, Chief. We had talked about having the network. You won't be having to meet with these. That will be the social worker.
Okay.
That is the role of the social worker.
Okay. Good.
Once you have a social worker, then that will be her job, because her job is going to be, and if you look in the description, is to create those partnerships and those networks. And she will know, based on the needs of what you need,
Right.
You will know who to employ and bring on board. So that is not something that you need to take on. What we're saying is in the language of these goals, that you need to make sure that it is set there, okay, where you say social worker will work with area networks, because there are other networks out there, Chief, that maybe Rose isn't a part of, because and Rose will tell you, there's a lot of groups that work in silos, and sometimes we go to different meetings, and sometimes you see kind of the same people, but it's not being led by the same people. So that's why I'm saying, Chief, you don't want to box yourself in.
Yeah, because I like that idea.
The social worker, that will not be your job, Chief. You got a lot of, that's why you hire people to do the job. Your social worker will be the individual that will be given that responsibility,
right,
to be working, with the rest of us. Because as you know, Chief, I mean, I have a nonprofit in Lamar. So, I want to be able to be, a part of that as well.
Okay. Well, I like hearing that, because I got enough hats right now. And
Yes,
Chad,
sir. No,
Chad,
you don't. Let's just put the wording in there.
Chad, you hear that? Good. He's somewhere. He's probably on the phone. Okay.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay. Well, good. All right. That's number 5. And hopefully I'll get that job description finished this weekend, get it to HR, and they'll get it hired.
I'm so sorry, Chief Aragon. So Madeline, are you sending him that narrative so that he has it maybe in an email form so he can change that narrative?
Yeah. I'm gonna, I'm gonna do that, but I just wanted to make sure we made this, we discussed this, and, you and I are on board, because, we work with these networks, and we know, and we just want to make sure that we're all working in harmony, and we make this work for you, Chief.
What I might do, Mandolin and Rose, in number 5, I think Roy knows what I'm talking about, Dr. Taylor. We're starting community policing on January 31st. I just want to let you know, we're having our first kickoff meeting to rejuvenate the Lake Road North Community Watch. We had 15, as you remember. That's going to be kicked back off. In fact, in the same church, McKinney Memorial Church, and all, you'll be getting invites to everybody. And hopefully you all show up, Keisha and Manlin, everybody, Jen. Okay, we're kicking that off the 31st at 6 p.m. They're going to have a community policing officer, Calvin Harp, African-American, been with us 4 or 5 years. But what I'm going to do also right after that is establish, which I've done before, it's called a community-oriented policing leadership council, a group of 8 to 10 diverse group personnel, executives, to help me and guide me in the right direction with this community policing effort. That's what I did before. Bo Hunter was on it, people like that, David Pennington, a few others, people that know our community. But I'm going to also make that, and I told Mandolin, I'm going to also put a slash in there. It's going to be Chiefs Diversity Council. So that one group is going to be advising me on the direction we need to go for community policing. And also they're going to advise me regarding diversity issues in our city. Now, there's going to be another committee that's going to report to me. It's going to be the youth, what's it called, Mandela? The youth?
Oh, you call it youth advocacy. Youth advocacy. So there's going to be a component where youth will also be recruited to serve and to advise the chief on matters in the city.
Gang issues, all these socioeconomic things that Rose is smiling about. And of course, you need to be considered on that. And Mandolin and others, Jen probably, she's a good thinker. But we need to have. What's that?
I just want to take a second and give you some snaps. That is a fantastic idea. And in prevention work, that is one of the key ways we see a difference in our community. So kudos, hats off to you guys, y'all. That is fantastic. Just wanted to throw that in there.
It's going to happen. And I'm putting it down now. And youth, what's it called? Youth advisory?
Youth advisory committee to the chief. Okay.
And Chad's going to help me on that too. Can't let him go get away with that without doing that. Nikisha, you hear all this? Okay, she's probably on the phone too. Okay, so that's number 5. Okay, we've covered the 5 goals.
Chief, I'm sorry to interrupt because you and I
Go
were
ahead.
working on this. The other piece, remember, to that is going to be the faith-based, the faith in blue.
Okay, so
Because
that'll
of
be,
that's
well-
gonna be there with your community policing stuff, your advisories. You wanted to get the pastors.
well, what I was gonna do is, like I did before, I think of Richard Scott. I was gonna probably appoint Brother Richard Scott.
He's already, yep, he's on board.
Yeah, I put him on last time on the Community Police Leadership Council, which would be that / the diversity. He'll be on there representing the pastors.
Okay,
Because
got it.
he was on there, and he's a citizen volunteer for me too. And
Chaplain,
he's over our chaplain program. We have 7 or 8 chaplains through our Citizen Police Academy alumni, and he is the head chaplain of the 7. So he'll be on that committee. So we're covering all bounds, I'm telling you. Okay, Nikisha, you hear everything we're saying?
you're on mute.
Yes, I am. I'm at work and I'm listening.
Okay.
Got nursing students today, so I'm
And-
multitasking, but I am here.
And I'm
And Chief, I'm so glad Nikisha's on there because that was the other part, we're
Yeah.
talking about the social worker and these networks, the school district is one of those networks. I mean, those are one of the partners that you need that needs to be on there. So that's why I was saying we want to leave it open where it's this network, right? And the school district, because we talked about hitting, 4 areas that we talked about hitting in that network and resources that the community needs. And one of them was education. That's at Nikisha Paul, Texas City ISD piece. Okay, we talked about job training. We talked about mental health counseling, and we talked about substance abuse treatment. So again, having the school district, there's just so many different people. So, I'm glad Nikisha's on there because
well, she's going to be on the Community Police Leadership Council / Diversity Council. You
okay,
with that,
awesome.
Nikisha, you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And of course, Richard Scott will be on there representing the ministers, Rose, and so forth. Okay. All right. I got a lot of stuff here. I'm going to change when I do the goals. Before I mention this, the mayor wanted a 1st-year goal, 3rd-year goals, and 5-year. I'll work that out because I know about the time frames that I don't think you guys need to get involved in that unless Dr. Taylor wants to, but I'll work out what's first. Like community policing, the 1st-year goal is to get us on the road, do about 3 or 4, the 3rd year be get them all done. And I'll work that out for the meeting on Tuesday. Okay. Anybody
Just let me know if you need to. I mean, if you need somebody to bounce something off of, just let me know. I'm happy to.
go ahead.
two
Doc.
seconds.
You want to go ahead and say something?
No, I was just going to say, if you do need help with it or want to
Yeah. I'll
have
call
something
you.
to bounce off of, I'm available.
Okay, good. Paige, I know we haven't asked you anything yet. I know you've been, yours is, I think I need to have you on our Community Police and Leadership Council / Diversity Council. We need to know what's going on business wise, which is that's your forte. Okay. Jen, I'm going to have you on something because she's a good thinker. She knows what the heck's going on. Kyle, you too. You're not getting away with anything. You're my right hand in the city. Chad's my right hand for the PD. I got to say that because he'll get worried. Kyle is a good thinker. Vincent, you've been great. You're responding all the time. I do appreciate it. Rose, I love seeing your smiling face and your help from the outside. Great. Amanda, no question about it. Your pay is good. I'll keep paying what I'm paying you, which is that. Okay. Jen, you're good. You're great. You're magic. Dr. Taylor, so great to see you again.
Chief, can we get everybody
My
to kind of
pleasure.
give it? Can we get everybody to kind of give just very briefly, just thoughts about what we've come up with?
Sure. Let's start out with Dr. Taylor.
Well, thank you, Randall. I think you've got a really solid plan, and hopefully you'll be able to come up with the money, because unfortunately, like a lot of things, having the dollars to do it. I mean, it's great. It sounds like you got a great infrastructure of people and organizations that are going to help, but some of those infrastructure things are going to definitely need to be accomplished. So the lighting is going to be very expensive. I don't know that $500,000 is going to be adequate, but hopefully there'll be some other type of grants through other sources that may be able to assist you in that. I mean, you know, as law enforcement, we kind of get focused in on BGA grants, but I mean, you know, as interim city manager, you may be able to expand out and find other sources of revenue, like, you know, the League of Urban Development or something like that may have some type of money that would be of benefit to you. I'm just not familiar with those. And as far as getting a COPS grant, that's great. I really would lower my expectations. I think where you're looking for 6 or 10, I don't know that you'll be that fortunate. But you know, it can't hurt to ask. Take what you get. But you know, realistically, it'll probably be 3 or 4, just because a lot of people are going to be vying for that same amount of money. And like I think Vincent or somebody said that, you know, sometimes they are 100% the first year, then 80%, then 60%. That's true. It does change from time to time. But I think after you look at the totality of it, it would still end up being roughly 25% a year, but you may be able to kind of ease into it. So hopefully that'll help the financial strain. But again, I don't know what revenue sources the city has, if you've got any growth that'll bring in a bigger tax base, or you're kind of stagnant. If it's stagnant, like a lot of the towns that we worked in North Carolina, you know, you got what you got. And so all you can do is, you know, what the funds will allow. But you know, look for outside sources for money, and that's my only suggestion. And then I'll reiterate what I said about this SRT team. You know, I would call it CAT or something that sounds less aggressive. You know, maybe the officers don't buy into it, but I've seen some pretty cool logos using community action team that, you know, kind of help persuade them to go that way. But again, it's all about the community perception. It doesn't matter what they actually do. It's just, how does it sound to the community?
Right.
That's all I have. Thank you.
What would CAT mean, Roy?
Community Action Team.
Community Action Team. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. I was going to say, I remember that was a recommendation you made, and I think I can't remember the other gentleman. He was a chief. Was it the one? I can't remember. He also was on board, chief, and we talked, Chief Aragon. Yeah. We talked about that because we needed to look at the community that you know that you're serving, and which is, you know, majority and minority community, and you're needing to build trust. And so that was a recommendation that was made. Right. Thank you, Dr. Taylor, that instead of SRT, that you call it a community action team.
Okay, you hear that, Chad? Now, here's the thing. Our CAT, I didn't even know this till a month or two. They have got so, since I left, it became more than hitting hotspots. They're actually a mini SWAT team. They got all, they work with Texas City and join up on, joint operations. So,
right. So,
am I right, Chad?
Yeah. So here's the deal. These group of guys are the same group that goes out and does. Not only do we get our own search warrants, but we execute our own search warrants. So they're the ones that kick in the doors as well. So we're not relying on all these agencies when we have warrants. We need to go out and execute warrants on and this and that. So, yeah, it's the SWAT part. I know SWAT is a bad name. We don't. But they are joined with Texas City. We are lucky enough to have them. We've got an MOU with Texas City. They help us. We help them. And as far as going out and kicking the doors on warrants and things like that, we absolutely have to have that. We can't have a warrant and sit around and wait for somebody to kick the door in for us. So they kind of serve dual purposes. They do that. They're also out there doing the things that you talked about, Chief, with the the principal calls that says, hey, these guys are selling vape pens over here or whatever at the local convenience stores, and they go out and do that as well. But it's definitely multifaceted.
Yeah. So, what's the special response team, SRT, Roy? Where is that kind of got a bad connotation? The word special response team. It just,
again, it's just kind of, just like SWAT. It just kind of has that militaristic warrior type of
okay.
flavor to it that people get away from. And, Chad, it doesn't matter what you're called. I mean, your mission can still be the same, but you just don't call it. It's not, it's about public relations. The job is the same. It's just, how do we put some icing on the cake? And so if we call it community action team instead of special response team, when I was on the SWAT team in Cary, we called it SOS, Special Operations Squad. And, so the chief would joke, the SOS team is called out when our ship is sinking. That's our lifeboat. But again, it's just about semantics. It doesn't really necessarily mean you can't do what you're doing. It's just, what are we calling it? So when it gets in the paper or the chief's talking about it to council, it's all about just semantics. So yeah, don't think we're trying to change the mission. It's just what we call the team and, how we address it to the public.
Absolutely. And when Chief Paragon first got here, it was originally called the Neighborhood Safety Team. We called it NST. Right. It was the Neighborhood Safety Team. And I'm not even real sure how it transitioned from that.
Yeah, we started it, Chad, it was the NST, right?
Right, the Neighborhood Safety Team, right.
And then it evolved to be,
right,
what they're at now. But okay, we'll keep that in mind, guys.
Yeah, and the Neighborhood Safety Team's a good name. I mean, I'm not married to Cat.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It's something that we wanted to convey, that it's there for the public's welfare and it's not a military unit coming in to kick ass.
It was.
I think that's great, especially when, the other piece of this is, Chief and Chad, we're good. You guys are going to be working on this tax rate. The city is going to be promoting that, and then the new police station, and the whole the campaign really is going to be focusing on investing in public safety and why it's important for the residents. So I think that this would be good PR for you to say, calling it a neighborhood safety team. It just goes hand in hand. I didn't know that was y'all's name, but I really think you guys need to go back to that, because that's what you're doing. That's what you're trying to do.
Why don't you think it over, Chad, and talk it over with the command staff? Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we started there. We just go back to it,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Nikisha, you got anything you want to add? Okay. All right, Paige, Michelle, you there?
I am. Sorry, I didn't have it on. No, I love the bullets and the outline and the plan, and I'm just here to stay informed and help spread the word.
Thank you. Kyle, you got anything you want to add, Kyle?
Nothing to add.
Come on, Kyle. You're the right hand.
I know.
No, I'm good.
Chad, go ahead, Chad. Give your words of wisdom.
Oh, I shouldn't have spoke up. I thought, okay. So yeah, no, I agree with it. Even as far as the name, I can definitely understand that. I'm just glad everything that we're doing. I'm glad my classmate Nikisha Paul is on. It's good to have her on, and just what we're doing with Resource Crisis Center is great. Someone mentioned CAC earlier. I mean, we definitely work with them all the time. Obviously, NAMI, that's a group that I'm familiar with personally. So I like the direction that we're going in, and and the lighting is so important.
Yeah.
Some of these streets that we've had problems on, you drive down them and there's just zero light at night. There's nothing. They can do whatever they want at night. So anyway, I just think we're going in the right direction.
Thank you, Chad. Okay, Vincent, words of wisdom.
No, I enjoy the enthusiasm. Here to support whatever the team needs from me. Nothing else to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jen.
I don't have anything to add as far as what you already have going. I'm just excited to be part of it, especially not only working for the city, but as a citizen who's been in these hot spots and has been a resident for almost 19 years. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm glad to be part of it. So
Jen, tell us the story about your long missing bike.
So my husband and I went and did the tour at the PD Wednesday evening, and we got out to the back area, and my husband said, "Oh my gosh, that's your bike that was stolen."
2 years ago, right?
No, it was several years ago. It was so long ago. We don't even know what year it was. I never reported it because it was, one of those days that I think I went for a bike ride and then fell asleep, took a nap during the day, and someone took it off my porch, broad daylight. It was brand new at the time. So yeah, we found my bike and we think it might have been 2010 that it was stolen. And so, yeah.
You're going to pick it up now, right? Someday?
Yeah. Officer Gandy was going to have Officer Crow look to see if it had been tagged out to anything, just to make sure before I get it back.
Amazing. Okay.
So yeah, great story.
That's called a serendipity, right?
Yeah.
All right, good word. Okay, Rose Lazo.
I am as well. I'm just very excited to be part of this. And I feel like everything is going in a really well thought out, intentional manner, which makes me feel really good, not only as being part of this team, but also as a citizen of Lamarque, to know that there's so much intentionality in what is going on. It's very inspiring. It's very exciting. And I think it will inspire stories along the way that I think will really impact the citizens of Lamarque. So I'm just excited.
I think when we sign the MOU, we need to do like a signing the Constitution thing, like this is something that's never happened. No, really, I need you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I also want to note that I think it's pretty cool that that you guys have really thought of every single angle. And that is so important. Again, there's just so much little details that you guys have thought about that as a citizen, I'm just so impressed and excited and for the changes.
Thank you. Okay, Mandolin, you're last.
Well, no, Nikisha's back. She's on board.
Oh, she's back
Yeah,
again?
she's back. Yeah, Nikisha.
I thought we already talked to her.
Oh, no, she hadn't. She was off. She's
Okay.
wanting everybody to give their thoughts about all of this and the
Go ahead,
direction.
The first, thank you for allowing us to be here, and thank you for considering the school district, because like all of you have said, it's going to take the whole village for everything to work together and align together on such a great accord, right? And so I think that the direction that you all are headed is going to be totally advantageous for our students, because like you said, you want Lamarque to be the safest city, and the school district wants safety so that we can teach in the classrooms. Because if you've got behavioral issues and if you've got students that are out there running awry, then we can't do what we need to do in the classrooms. And at the end of the day, these kids are our future and they're going to be leading us. And so we've got to teach them to stay on the straight and narrow, and we want to teach them, and we want to teach them the right way. So I appreciate your initiatives. I appreciate having goals. I appreciate everyone standing together to want to accomplish these goals, because at the end of the day, the outcome is going to be successful. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to report all these things to the superintendent, because she's going to be the worker. I'm going to help you in every way possible. I'm going to get the board members attuned to what's going on. When we meet next month, I'm going to report to them that I'm sitting on here, because as an individual I am by myself, but as a group of 7, that's how we make decisions. It's not a Nikisha Paul thing, it's all 7. We are a team of 7, or actually a team of 8, including the superintendent. So I'm going to make sure that I report all of these initiatives to my fellow school board members so that they understand the goals and what is trying to be done. And, and of course, we're going to be available in any way we can. I'm going to relay these messages to the superintendent as well, because she needs to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And she's, of course, going to want to be a part of what's going on. She's going to be thankful, because all hands on deck is what's needed. Okay. So we are just elated that to get some help. We're elated that this initiative is happening. So again, like I said, in whatever way that I can help, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make these meetings as best as I can. Sometimes During the day is a little harder for me. I not only run a school district, but I run a whole nursing program. So I'm going to do what I can. But again, I will make myself available, and the school board members, I'm sure, will be willing and ready to jump in. And the superintendent is always, there. And in case you all don't know, I don't know if Paige said it, but our superintendent won Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
Citizen of the Year. And you know what? That was outstanding because she has really come here and she has jumped in and hit the ground running, and she hasn't stopped. So you got to know that we've got a supportive superintendent who supports the initiatives as long as you support us. And I think what I've heard today, we're a team. So
I tell you,
thanks.
I could see why she won. I was there last night.
Yeah,
Citizen of the Year. That lady is on top of everything.
absolutely.
We had a water line break.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, with my other hat. She called me all night long. When is it going to be fixed? And I was talking to her more than my wife. She was like, anyway, she's great. I had a few meetings with her. You got a good.
We do. We made a good choice.
Yeah.
We're happy about that.
And thanks for being part of this, Lakeisha.
Absolutely.
You're great. Okay, Mandolin, we'll end it with you then.
Okay, well, first of all, Chief, I want to thank you for, it's been an honor, and thank you for allowing me to be of assistance to you. Some of you have known me for a while, especially Nikisha, that I've been working really, really hard to really make some things happen, some positive changes happen there in the community of Lamarque. With my heart being with the children and the families that live there, because of the church, that I attended there in Lamarque. And we have a lot of great people like Nikisha. I love that woman because she herself also is one of those individuals. I've just known her longer, so no offense to all of you. I just know her longer, and I see her. Sometimes you don't see the things that she does, but she works behind the scenes with a lot of us. So thank you, Nikisha, for that. But Chief, I want everybody to know that this has not been easy. This task, the chief has taken some punches from people because he's making changes. He's working long hours, and I know, just talking from a lot of people, this has been something that was greatly needed. A lot of people that felt voiceless now feel heard, and they feel like they are at the table. And we've set some, I think, goals that are attainable. And this is going to be just really good. So, Chief, I want to congratulate you in all your work and your leadership and putting this together. I know it's been a lot of work and a lot of time, but again, thank you so much, and thank everyone else for coming, and being a part of this.
Manuel, thank you for those kind comments and kudos and so forth. I don't work alone. I got people like Chad and Jen there and Dr. Taylor, all of you helping out. It's a team.
And Kyle,
you're my right-hand man for the city, and Chad's my right-hand man for the police. Okay. No, really, Kyle and Chad, and you all great. Mandolin, thank you. She came out of nowhere, and I said, there was a lady I had like her in my other job. I told her that, Denise, and she wanted me to run for sheriff in New Mexico, and I probably would have done well. But then I got the call to come back. Chad was part of that. And here I am on my second run, recycled. But the thing is, I'm taking the heat on certain things. And that's what it is when you're a police chief. I'm moving ahead. Either lead, follow, or get the heck out of the way. That's the way it's got to be. Yep. And Chad's been supportive of that. My right-hand guy for this police department. Kyle, same thing. But I don't make decisions alone. You know that. I have people helping me figure out where to go. But I'm the final guy that makes that decision, And I tell you, Roy knows my old saying, and Chad, he calls it Aragonisms. There's an old saying, and one of my mentors, still my mentor, and he's deceased. Colin Powell, 4-star general, had nothing like me and Dr. Taylor. We moved up in the ranks just by hard work. And he said, when debating an issue, loyalty means give me your honest opinion, whether you think I'll like it or not. Disagreement at this point stimulates me. But once a decision is made, loyalty means executing the decision as if it were your own. And what that means in English is, you might not agree with the leader, and I want to hear what you're saying, but I have to make the final decision. And when it's made, when you get the decision, you execute it like it was your own. Don't say, when your people say, what did you say? Who told you? Where's that come from? Oh, it's coming from the chief. No. Good leaders say, I made that decision and we need to follow it. You ever heard that, Roy? This is a good way to follow. And I've been a sergeant, low-ranking person, and I say, who said that? That's the lieutenant. He's supposed to say, that's our decision, and I'll follow it. So that's a good way to think about it. It's Colin Powell, retired 4-star general, Secretary of State, African American. Read that book if you have a chance, My American Journey by Colin Powell. You will love it. He came from the same era I did in New York City.
I've read it. It's a really good book.
It's super. I think Roy, if you ever read it, probably you did. Roy reads everything. But My American Journey. Okay, with that, we're going to meet on our next meeting is going to be, I wrote down phase 3 meeting Tuesday, January 25th, next week at noon, 1200 hours. It'll be about an hour. Hopefully we're almost done. We're only at an hour and 4 minutes. We're doing pretty good, guys, gals. Okay, with that, thank you so much. God bless you. Be safe. It's cold down here. I'm telling you. Whew. It's like
cold up here.
This is a heat wave in Alaska. You know that, what we got here. Okay.
Well, you'll be in good shape.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Good seeing you, Randall. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Chief Aragon, I had a couple questions before you